It's a Wesker, by the way.
It's a Weskin time with dead-end walls. Eastern boys and Weskin girls. The Weskin girls. Killer queues were like really long for some reason, and I was getting the same survivors over and over. Maybe it's because I didn't update, and it was only linking me with the same people who didn't update.
What do you mean?
Like I was playing all day, and I kept getting the same survivors. Kept getting the same survivors in my lobby when I was the killer. Like I played against the same different people like 3 times in a row. Oh boy.
Move!
I tried to get in the way, but... Oh, there he goes. He got me. Oh boy. He broke that pallet with no effort at all. Oh boy, no, no, no. Wrong way. He big-brained me. Well, I went down instead of you. Enjoy your second chance.
Thank you. I will.
And he's just getting started, FYI. That's what he told me.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude? I was literally running for it.
So sometimes when you and I do, he is who he is. You and I may poorly represent him, but it doesn't change who he is. And incidentally, don't think that someday you're going to be able to stand before God and blame people that aren't God for how you responded to him. Nothing any person who
Fuck
claims
me.
to
Alright, I'm
represent
coming.
God
Hold on.
does, which is evil, actually represents him. And you'll find it's a very, very poor argument. Ultimately,
well, never mind. I'm not gonna take the hit then. I was trying to take the hit, but nope.
Because of the
not gonna get the hit.
Of others.
Alright, I'm coming for you. I'm running. I'm running. I'm running. Don't die on me, Jim. Don't die on me, Jim. Don't get a phase 2 on me. Don't get a phase. Got it.
And I got pulled over by the sheriff.
I am a pro.
So here's what I did. The Publix on Oakland Park Boulevard. I used to live in the condo, which is almost kind of catty-corner across the street from there. One time I was coming out of Publix.
Need to commune with
to go back to my condo, there's a turning lane right before Publix where you can turn, do a U-turn, and go back. And it's just almost even with the drive on Publix, but you only have that solid stripe, you know. So it'd be like coming down 9th Avenue. You know how that U-turn is right by the Denny's there? And if you kind of just do a little wiggle in your steering wheel, you could go straight out and make a left. Instead of going down to the stoplight and waiting for an hour and a half, and then, yeah, really not that long, or going and trying to cross stretch. Sometimes you could just, man, it's just so quick.
I saw Wesker getting a glyph.
Similar
That's my glyph, probably. I gotta go run over. It's a pink one.
And I saw a sheriff pull out of Publix, just cut straight across and make a left. I thought, boy, that's slick. He saved a lot of time. I followed him, did the same thing, and I didn't get any trouble for that at all. But I made it a habit to leave Publix that way. And one night I went to do the same thing, and next thing you know, blue lights behind me. And it's Wilton Manors Police. Guy pulls me over, and he says, "You know why I pulled you over?" I said, "I think I said, yeah, because the way I just, crossed the road there and kind of did an illegal U-turn." He said, "Yeah." So he took my driver's license. And he asked me, and I thought he was being a little nosy. He said, "Why do you have a CDL, commercial driver's license?" I said, "Well, sometimes I ride a church bus or whatever. I have a CDL." He said, "Don't you know that on a CDL, a traffic infraction, means if you get 3 of them, you can lose your license?" I said, "No, I didn't know that." So he came back and lectured me more, and then he said, "Because you have a CDL, I'm not giving you a ticket, because it'll be too bad for you." Or whatever else, okay? Now, I can make the excuse that I did an illegal U-turn because I saw a law enforcement officer do it, and if it's okay for him, it should be okay for me. And let me just ask you a question. If I tell that to a judge, what do you think is going to happen?
You get the book thrown out yet?
You know, Christians, you're worse than me.
Legit.
Sometimes you think you're going to tell God the reason you did something because of some other sinner and what they did, and you think that because you are doing what another sinner did, or because another sinner is worse than you, then somehow a righteous, perfect judge is going to just let you slide by.
Okay, yeah.
And it isn't so. He wouldn't be a righteous, perfect judge if he didn't judge. It would not be righteous judgment. And no more than you'd be thrilled about somebody getting to walk with no consequence when they've done evil perpetrated against you.
Res blew us up.
You feel as though you should be allowed to skate without any consequences when you've done evil yourself.
He's on the way here.
I'll use one last illustration. I remember being a teenager, and I remember in our neighborhood, we lived in a, I guess you'd say a low-crime neighborhood in Kansas. And so those are the places that criminals target, it seems like. And that's universally true. If you're a thief, you're going to go where, the best stuff is. And that's where you're going to steal. And where people are kind of low, they don't have a high guard up, they're not looking for thieves. So my dad always had his car stolen, in front of our house. Then they'd go and they'd get in his car, probably steal stuff, and then they'd realize, oh, somebody left the keys in this thing, and they'd start his car and take it. So some teenagers took my dad's car for a joyride one night. They got arrested for it. And basically nothing happened. And it turns out my dad actually knew the father of the teenagers that stole his car. And he said something. The guy came into my dad's salvage yard, and my dad said, "Hey, your kid stole my car." And boys will be boys, and that was kind of the father's attitude toward it. And then my dad wasn't very happy about that. He didn't think that was right. Later, I was a teenager and I had somebody break in my truck, and they took my stereo and they damaged my
still hanging out by you?
dash. And they took my stereo. And I didn't think
so.
That was right. And they got caught. And do you know how much restitution they had to do? Nothing. Because they were minors, they were underage. And so they committed crimes. I was a minor also. And they committed crimes. And I want to tell you how I felt about that. Not great. Because they broke into my truck, they damaged my truck. I'm a teenager, I'm not made out of money. They stole my stuff. And then the law says, well, they're just kids, and just let them off.
Like those great skill checks.
I'm going to tell you something. I want justice. I want justice.
Going for the other.
I wish that we had court systems that gave actual consequences to criminals. I wish that there was an actual deterrent. You say, Pastor, people are in prison because of minor infractions. I know. And that's because we have minor consequences oftentimes for infractions. We would have... This is not the message this evening, but I want you to think about this evening, just logically speaking. Don't look at me like I'm a horrible person for saying it. I'm trying to say some things that would help society. If we had more capital punishment, we'd have less crime. No. For two reasons. One, capital punishment's a major deterrent. And two, people that are dead don't commit crimes. We have so many repeat offenders, so many people that have a rap sheet a mile long that are committing crimes and ultimately really hurting people.
Somebody, please.
And so that's not political.
I'll go upstairs to the main building.
There is in us.
Yeah, he took me to the other side. I took him to the other side of the map.
At the notion that a judge is not just. In other words, the job of a judge
He's coming back here to the main.
Just means fair or equal. To make things right.
I'm gonna die for this.
And the criminal system actually doesn't make things right.
Definitely.
Generally speaking, normally. Now, I'm for mercy also, aren't you?
Oh, he just... Wow, he got there same exact time. Picked them up and he downed them immediately.
Not for someone who...
Well, you can come pick me up off the hook.
And so the idea...
Oh, he's after me. And I'm death hook.
Judge. After whom all
so
justice is modeled.
I'm definitely dying here.
Heaven should not judge is a contradiction of the way you actually feel in your heart.
Especially if he doesn't just.
That's
come over
why
here,
the
no?
same people
I guess not.
state two contradictory, nonsensical
I have
things
DS.
when they're accusatory about God. You've heard it. You've heard both of them. You've heard me mention it before. You ever heard somebody say, if God is good?
It didn't work.
If
It didn't
God
pick
is
them
good,
up.
then why does he have to be
I'm
so
dead.
hard and judge the wicked?
I'm getting more.
Probably.
Anybody ever heard that?
Yep.
If God is good, why can't he be more loving? Why can't he be more merciful? Why does God have to send me to hell for my sin? You ever heard somebody say that? And those same people, a few sentences later, have said to me, if God is good, then why does he let so much evil happen?
Wow, you're trash.
Do you realize that if the second were true, God would be obliged by your own logic to destroy you? And I have to
he's gonna
say
chase
to
me,
you
okay,
that
cool.
both of those statements are untrue. The fact is that God is loving and God is good and God is merciful. And it's a lie to
There's
say
no pallet
he
here.
isn't.
Where the
And
fuck did all the
secondarily,
pallets
it's a lie
go?
to say God doesn't judge the wicked, because God demonstrates his mercy through the sacrifice of his own Son. In other words, the God that judges sin died for
Can you believe I
sin.
died and they still didn't even get up
Paid the
from it?
penalty for it, so you could
Yeah,
be
I picked them up, too.
freely forgiven.
No pallets.
So God is merciful and God is
I'm
good.
dead.
And you had better construct your thinking in such a way that the day that you fall before
I'm almost
him,
gonna bleed to death.
you
I don't
won't
know
be coming up with some
why
kind
they
of
don't
nonsensical
start
argument
crawling
that
somewhere
somebody else did
closer, but
something
they're just
else.
staying in that one
You'll be
spot.
answering for you, not for them.
Because they're not very good.
Just like I couldn't answer to the Wilton Manor's
Like
police
my
that I did
my
something
boon was
because I saw the
exponential.
sheriff
Had
do
they crawled
something.
to it, you know,
You won't be able to answer to God that you did something because your
oh,
parents
they're dead.
or somebody that you knew or
They're dead.
someone had done something.
This other-
Mambo's not very good.
It's
Well,
just
Like
not
that's
gonna
that's
fly,
my
folks.
overall
It's not
opinion.
reasonable.
But the
Of way
Nia's,
Mambo
but the
does.
Nia's not
Is
doing anything to
letting Israel
like
know
save them
Wow,
either.
he
that
had.
they're going to have
I didn't know he had
consequences. And,
Unbreakable. I wouldn't have
just
gone
wanna
for him.
apologize to you
Wow,
one
the
more
whole
time
time
for
he
my
waited to the
personality
last
this evening.
second.
Because
Dude,
you know,
just
if I
kick
were-
him out of the party. I don't
If I
want to play
had
with
a
that
better
dude.
personality,
Kick him out of the
I would
party.
probably be more fun as a preacher. I had thoughts this evening because I have a straight edge razor.
Nah, fuck that dude.
I had
And he's
thoughts
still
this evening of
dying.
bringing my straight edge razor and sitting here and shaving my head and my beard in front of you guys and getting
How many
myself
hours
away
does he
to
have? There's no
balance
way. Yeah, he's
and
got like
weighing
no
my hair
hours.
and dividing it up into
Got what? How many?
three. And certainly you
He's
would
got
probably
1,200
never have
hours,
forgotten
but
the
he-
message
why?
this evening, or at
Why did
least
he
the
wait
stunt
on that?
And he still
before the
died.
message.
Yeah, he
But
could
this
have
is
picked himself
literally
up at
what
any point.
Ezekiel
He
was
just
told by
died.
God to do.
And it got me
And don't
killed.
think that was any less of a stunt.
It got me
when
killed
he did. It
too.
was important in
For even
Ezekiel's
going
day
there.
for a Jewish man
I was on a
to have
gen.
the right length
Wait,
of
are you
hair
streaming?
And to
Yeah.
have him a full beard.
Oh,
And matter
okay,
of
is he
fact,
one of
do
your
you
stream
remember what happened
buddies?
when David
I don't
sent
know.
messengers to a king and they actually shaved
He's
half of their
he's playing
beards
very
off
Duduka.
to shame or embarrass them? And so
Duduka.
thinking in terms of Ezekiel,
He could have picked
this
himself up at any point,
illustration
even when
that
I was
God
getting
tells him
chased,
to do
and I was nowhere
is not
near
something like he's
the main building.
responding by saying, I've always wanted to do that. Now, Tony, maybe, but not Ezekiel. And so God is telling Ezekiel once more, you're going to be a living sermon. You're going to be an illustration. So get yourself a knife, a sharp knife, a barber's razor, and shave your head and shave your beard and take all of the hair that you get from your head and your
Well,
beard
he had
and
options,
weigh
he just
it
didn't take
and
them.
divide it up into 3 parts.
And that is, yeah,
How
that
many
is
of y'all, if
really
you saw
frustrating.
somebody, doing this, would at least be curious? This again is an attention getter. This is something God is using Ezekiel. Just like he
The
had
killer
him lay
was
on his
nowhere near
side
him multiple
for
times.
300 and,
And
what was
he just
it,
didn't try to pick himself up.
390 days and 70 days for the siege against Jerusalem. God is now having Ezekiel shave his head. Now, I want to remind you about Ezekiel. Ezekiel's called, during this era of time, a contemporary of both Jeremiah and Daniel. He's called to be a prophet to the nation of Israel. And he's called at a time where his ministry is hard. God said these people are hard. They're hard-hearted. And you're going to have the kind of ministry where you're going to tell truth to people for whom the truth ought to change their behavior, but they're going to be hardened against it. And God says, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to harden you. I'm going to give you a hard head. You're going to have a face like an adamant or like a flint, so that when somebody speaks to you, all it does is make sparks. It just doesn't hurt you at all. And this is Ezekiel's job. It's his ministry. And so he's the right man for the right job. Now, when we were introduced, we also talked about you and the particular calling that God's called you to and how he prepares you for your particular calling. So now, Ezekiel is this week, or I'm sorry, in this instance, this week we're looking at Ezekiel. And
they said they shook their head no to tell us not to pick them up.
After he divides the hair in 3 parts,
what does that mean? Like wiggling on the ground?
Third part in the midst of the
How could you shake your head no when you're on the ground?
When the days of the siege are fulfilled, and thou shalt take a third part and smite about it with a knife, and a third part thou shalt scatter in the wind, and I will draw out a sword after that. Okay, so let's just try to remember this, okay? 1/3 part after the siege ends, Ezekiel is to go to the middle of the city.
Well, I told them, you got everyone killed.
Now, how many of y'all know what that would smell like?
I mean, they left on their own.
I use a charcoal grill, not a gas grill, but I would tell you something. My charcoal grill, it gets hot. It gets up to 900
He just
degrees.
sat there, though. He had Unbreakable. Why not use it when he was chasing me? When Wesker was chasing me? Why not go back and work on a gen?
I mean,
why just lay there with Unbreakable? What was the point?
But if I'm careless in opening the lid,
I guess it was just because he was going up there because Wesker couldn't hook him, but I don't know. It played it. There was no strategy to it because he just bled himself out to the point where when he got downed again, he just died anyway.
What is up, my fellas?
Bearded Jewish
What's up?
Shaving his beard.
Oh, I just got done cleaning the kitchen.
A third of the beard.
Is it clean? Is it sufficiently clean?
In the middle of the siege.
Well, yes, it is sufficient.
And lighting it on fire.
After my family got done eating, I was like, hey guys, how about everyone gets out of the kitchen? I'll clean up all the dishes here for everyone.
You ever see the people try to pretend they don't notice? You know, you walk by somebody and say,
so, there's that.
You know, I get it. So here's Ezekiel.
Yeah, trolling. When I was about to hop on, my cousin Jacob, my cousin ended up calling me, and then so I was planning on for him coming over to make ravioli because once a year we have this ravioli making day. And then we kept on chatting, and then dinner time came around. After dinner time came around, I had to run downstairs, eat, and I did dishes afterwards. That's what the holdup was.
Well, I'm always around. You didn't have to wait for me to come around.
Are you coming in or not?
Oh yeah, I'm coming in right now.
Fact is, he's a household name to everybody. Everyone knows.
But I was already here.
This would be like somebody that everybody knows.
Fair enough. So the Celestial Protocol comes out tomorrow, my man. And their game already has sold so many copies